Hi everyone, and welcome to this new episode of Norwich Theatre Talks. This is the final episode of our second season, and as we've done throughout these two seasons of podcasts, we're going to begin by talking to a member of the wider Norwich Theatre team and telling you a little bit about some of the work you might not see when you come to the theatre. We're going to be meeting Lauren Farley, our Business Development Manager, to tell you a little bit about the other events we host in our buildings and our work with the corporate community. But now my first guest will be no stranger to regular comedy attenders here in Norfolk. For over 25 years, he's been part of the legendary Nimmo Twins, along with Carl Minns, who's previously appeared on this podcast. But today we're going to talk to him about his next big challenge and what he's doing this Christmas, which is starring as the Dame in the Norwich Theatre Royal pantomime. It's none other than the amazing Owen Evans. Owen, welcome to Norwich Theatre Talks.
Thank you.
It's lovely to have you, and especially lovely to share the exciting news.
Yes,
soon to be Dame
Owen Evans. Yes.
How are you feeling about that?
Excited and scared in equal measure.
Yeah,
I think.
okay,
I think I was sort of like scared isn't a bad thing. You know, that's because I just want to do a good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sort of like, you know, it's a big deal for the theatre and it's a big deal for me.
We are so lucky, and I have to confess myself, phoning you up and asking you if you fancy putting on a frock for Christmas was not necessarily one of the things that I thought about I'd ever do, but
I'm
it
not
worked
that
out.
scary. I'm not that scary.
And what are your thoughts at the moment? Because, you know, dames in panto can manifest themselves in lots of different ways, aren't they? What are you thinking about it at the moment? Not too many spoilers.
No. I'm thinking maybe a bit more, you know, a little bit more sort of macho than Richard usually performs, I think. But purely because of my size and shape. You know, I'm a bit more sort of like, I can imagine everybody sort of being sexually attracted to her, apart from the young romantic leads, obviously.
Absolutely.
You know, audience dads, everyone in the cast, apart from the leads, obviously.
Little bit of a cougar,
yes.
maybe.
Yeah, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes,
very good.
yeah.
And of course, you've got Trissini to play alongside.
I can't wait. I've seen Joe in panto at the Theatre Royal before, and he is just brilliant and hilarious, and to be a foil to that, I just can't wait. You know, it's going to be a joy to perform with.
But audiences are going to love, audiences that come to panto. They all have grown up with the Nimmo Twins. 25 years you and Carl have been going with the Nimmos now. And yeah, there's going to be lots of love, and there's going to be so much excitement to see you bring some of that stuff. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes,
you're going to bring a little bit of the...
And bringing a bit more of that local element to it as well, you know, when we're sort of like, you know, playing the real local card. And, you know, people love it, you know, because they associate me with the Nimmos now, and they know that, you know, when they hear a Norfolk accent from us, it's a true Norfolk accent.
Absolutely.
As opposed to a Somerset accent. Somebody from Somerset has come up and done a bit for us, you know.
But people do have seen you for many years with Carl doing the Nimmos, doing all those sketches. But actually, you know, your acting career is way beyond that, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Tell us a little bit about other stuff you've done over the years.
I trained at LAMDA many years ago, many moons ago. And then after leaving LAMDA, me and a bunch of friends, we set up a theatre underneath a block of flats in Paddington called Arts Threshold. Wow. And we employed this young fella as what is in his first directing job as Rufus Norris, who's now running the National Theatre.
He's done all right for himself.
He's done all right for himself, yeah. And we had a lovely fellow, a guy called Brian Asprey, sadly passed away a couple of years ago now, but he set up the first multiracial theatre company in South Africa during apartheid. Wow. And put on all the first Athol Fugard plays, and he was our mentor and sort of helped us set it up and so forth. It was an amazing experience. And I played Petruchio there to much acclaim.
Did you?
With Julie Hesmondhalgh as my
wonderful actress.
As my Kate. And that was just, we sold out every night, and it was a joy to perform.
Incredible.
You know, it was an incredible experience, yeah. And then after that, a lot of the time I've sort of made a career of making my own work, really. You know, sort of after I finished in London, after about 10 years of doing fringe theatre there, I moved back to Norfolk. and I met some old friends, and we got involved with doing community theatre here. That's where I met Carl.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
that
then
was Crude Apache, wasn't it?
Initially, yes, yeah. And we put on a couple of summer shows together, and then he started writing these sketches, and I looked at them and thought, yeah, we can do something with this, and we took it up to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And the rest, as I say, is geography.
Well, absolutely. And, you know, some of those characters from the very early sketches have remained all the way through, haven't
Yes,
they? And,
yeah,
you know,
like She-Go was a very
She-Go,
early
which
one.
is one of Carl's.
Yes,
But you guys have become identified with those individuals, haven't
Yes,
you? And,
yes,
you know,
yeah.
we kind of follow them through their lives.
Exactly, yeah, which is nice. When you sort of like, it's not a purposeful thing. You find a character or put on a little piece, and it really lands. And next year you think, well, that landed, let's try that again. And then you find more and more mileage in the character. And it's like I did a poem last year's show, a very old fella doing a poem, and he's written me another poem for the old fella this year. And he's back again, and this year he's written me a wonderful. He's rewritten To Be or Not to Be.
Oh, right.
About the parking charges at the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital, which is a joy to perform. I'm really enjoying that one. Yeah.
So this must be really, really fun to kind of go back to old school theatre.
Yes,
You know, panto is old school.
It's real old
history
school.
is really long.
It's as well where children get their first theatrical experience. I was thinking about on the way over here. You know, it's sort of like what a privilege and a joy to give that to kids to sort of say, yeah, look how fun. You know, being in a live show is, you know, interacting with the audience and sort of, you know, learning all the great tropes of Christmas theatre.
But also, you know, alongside doing Nimmo's, and you're here at Playhouse this week, sold out run, so many people coming. You've been working hard as an actor locally as well, haven't you? Worked with Feast and
Feast Theatre, and with the community theatre again with the Common Lot, where
That's right.
Joined up with you lovely people to do Dream 16 with Midsummer Night's Dream and the RSC.
That's probably what people don't realise is you have shown your bottom.
I have shown my bottom, yes. Oh, yes, many a time. And that was, I mean, you know, such a wonderful experience to work with those wonderful people, and to go up to Stratford and perform up there as well was just a dream come true.
Kind of iconic project, that wasn't it? And both in terms of the show itself and how it was created, but from Norwich Theatre's perspective, that relationship with the RSC has just gone on and on and on,
hasn't it?
From there as well. And so it's kind of a return to treading the boards.
Yes, yes, oh yes. Although I did a little play earlier in the year with Feast, who are a great local company who promote local writers. Basically, what we do is tour sort of around the sort of small towns and villages of Norfolk with new plays about their location a lot of the time, and again, people really connect with that, you know, to see quality theatre in a, you know, Aylsham Town Hall or something
absolutely
makes a difference to people, and they really, really appreciate it.
Well, you're right, and you know, coming to Panto for a lot of people is their one visit to the theatre every year, and I've always felt it was really special because that's often the time when families come together and they choose to do it
as a family,
the theatre,
as opposed to going, mum and dad are off out tonight. No, come on, kids, we're all going tonight. You know, which is the joy of the panto.
And you know, Nimmo's has always kind of thrived on that audience interaction.
Can't bring
but
the
you
kids.
Can't bring the kids. Are you looking forward to that? Getting a younger audience to play to?
Although again, I must admit, I was sort of thinking, well, I can't ad-lib too much like I would in the Nimmos. So I can't use some of those gags.
I don't know. Sometimes for the dads. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose if it goes over the children's head, it's fine.
Yeah. And I mean, some of the Nimmos characters like Anne, are just so well loved. Are you going to bring any kind of hints, any references? Do you think? What do you think?
I don't know. It's going to be an organic process. You know, I'm going to work very closely with the director, and I'm going to find my inner dame, and I think the only thing I'm worried about is some of the practicalities. Like, I've never had to, for example, put on makeup for a show before, and I'm a little bit worried about it's the little things, but I think the theatre will be sort of like helping me out and sort of buoying me along with a lot of these things.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you know, it's at this point, you know, with such success with the Nimmos. I genuinely, I remember them. I was driving, and I heard an advert on the radio, or somebody talking about radio about a show you were doing, and there was that light bulb moment where I thought, that's it. But genuinely, Owen, when I spoke to you, not because you were scary, you know, it's a big ask, isn't it?
Yes,
you know, to take it on. And I thought, gosh, I hope he says yes. And thankfully you did.
And like you say, it's that sort of. I've always looked at it as, that's a sort of maybe a very specific skill.
Yeah.
Doing panto, it's very different to, you know, doing a straight role or doing sketches with Carl.
Yeah.
You know, it's and I just can't wait to learn and to sort of tread new ground, you know, and that's why it's scary, really.
Yeah, and create, you know, Richard has been Dame in the Panto for a long time and has his own
big
Dame.
They're big high heels to
They
fill.
are a 2 3/4 heel, I will have you know. And, you know, to kind of keep that, because he's not a drag dame, he's not one of those dames that's completely outrageous, kind of Julian Clary style.
Yeah.
It's sort of like you're slightly drunken aunt.
Yes, I'm going to say more your traditional dame in a sense. Yeah. And I think I'll be going in that vein, but like I say, maybe a bit more machismo, a bit more sort of, I don't, a little bit naughty around the edges. Maybe, you know. God, sorry.
And what are people around you, your friends and family, made of this? Because it's, you know, it's a thing, isn't it?
So excited. I mean, to a man, they've all said, "Wow, you'll be brilliant." Yeah, thanks, but it's a bit scary.
Yeah.
Yes, they all, because a lot of friends and Carl in the past have said, "You should play the Dame one day. You know, you should really give that a go." And once I got the opportunity, I grabbed it. I thought, give it. You know, you only hear a certain amount of time. Make the most of it. You know.
And so, what's on your kind of? Because there's all the various different bits of panto, aren't there? From, you know, flying trapdoors, all the stuff that goes on. What's on your panto wish list? The bits you want to get involved in.
Some of the wet scenes, maybe. I've never done anything like that before.
Fancy a slosh scene.
Yeah, a bit of a slosh scene.
Yeah.
And just the general silliness of it. I'm really looking forward to the colour, the lights, you know, sort of walking out to sort of great aplomb with a new frock on. You know, it's
all those quick
headpiece.
changes.
Yes, yeah. Although I was talking to the costume lady earlier today, and she was, you know, a lot of them I think will be quite, in a sense, you're stepping out and stepping in, aren't you?
Yeah.
And just changing a hat or, well, big wig.
Okay, spoiler alert, big wigs are coming.
There are always big wigs.
And it's fabulous to talk to you. And, you know, you're here at the moment with a sold-out run of the Nimmos, and then a show at the Royal, and then almost straight into this.
Yes, and then it's straight to September then, and we can get cracking with this, and
let's get going.
Yeah.
Well, it's so exciting. Watch this space. We'll be telling you a bit more about Owen's Dame and revealing little bits more as we run up to the show. And of course, you can book tickets for Aladdin online. Owen, thank you for joining me.
No worries at all. Thank you.
Some people might not know that Norwich Theatre is a registered charity and we don't receive regular public funding, so we work hard to generate as much income from our venues in particular as we can to support all of our work, particularly our work with communities. An important element of that is our work with the corporate community, so I'm delighted to welcome to Norwich Theatre Talks Lauren Farley, our Business Development Manager. Lauren, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your role and what you get up to and
of course.
Who you work with.
So I'm Business Development Manager here at Norwich Theatre. So my role encompasses so many different things, like the multitude of that being working with all of our corporate partners, so based on our relationships, so through our memberships and our sponsorship schemes, as well as looking after our events program and sort of activities that we put on ourselves, but also managing the sort of external hires of the buildings. So it's super varied and there's so much going on all of the time. It's juggling lots of plates.
People wouldn't realise that a lot of this activity goes on, would they? Because they sort of see the theatre spaces, the auditorium and the work that goes on the stage. But actually, we work all the spaces really hard, don't we? Particularly around events, you know, and they're kind of many and varied, aren't they? So tell us a bit about the variety of stuff.
Absolutely. I think obviously the versatility of all of our venues lends themselves actually to so many different types of events. And what's really nice is being able to welcome clients through the door on a non-show day when actually the spaces just look like really lovely, professional, large, like sort of spacious, kind of, you know, suitable spaces for their events, and people have a different head on so they can then sort of visualize them being utilized in other ways. So, you know, we've had some really exciting things, like we hosted a casino night, taking over the whole building, but it then goes to much smaller sort of like internal kind of board meetings and things like that, where people use us for those sorts of things, as well as obviously hospitality before shows. So keeping that sort of theatre element in mind as well.
Absolutely. And this is, some people might not know that we don't receive public funding, so we have to generate all of this income ourselves. And you know, the work you do is a vital part of supporting other elements of our programme, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And I know you talk about that really compellingly to people who you're working with.
I think it's just so important. I think certainly in the business community, I think the message around us being a charity, I think it's so lost. I think people see what they want to see, and perception of the theatre, you know, has its own expectation anyway. But I think it's just so important to constantly relay that message, and that actually, as much as we're selling a product or a service to the business, and so therefore they're getting something out of it, actually it's doing a whole host of good as well. And, you know, that obviously ticks lots of good boxes for businesses as well. So, you know, it can't be a bad thing on either side.
Absolutely. And it's a kind of vital income stream for us, a vital bit of businesses work, you know, not just their CSR, but also, you know, they're giving opportunities to their staff. That's quite a big thing, isn't it, that companies work with us for?
I think, you know, we took a lot of time to sort of revamp our packages, sort of coming out of COVID, and really look at what they looked like and actually shaping them in a way that meant that employees and businesses were both getting equal measure of benefits, sort of thing. So because that is equally so important, ultimately we do still want people coming through the doors and enjoying the theatre, and ultimately the businesses that we work with, we actually want them to genuinely have a care and a thought and a consideration for the theatre, and that's why we hope that they're part of our corporate community as well.
And it's about it, that's it, isn't it? It's, you know, people might see a list of companies that support us, but it goes a bit beyond that. It is generating a community of people who work in different sectors, and that coming together has been a really important bit of your work, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And I think like we've seen such a nice element of growth with that as well. I think the nicest thing for me has been, as we've brought new businesses into that fold, they've almost jumped on the bandwagon. They've totally like thrown themselves into the packages and what that affords. And I think that's actually energized a lot of the partners that we've worked with historically to actually say, oh, hang on, there's a lot more that we get out of this, and actually we want to be a part of that sort of thing. So I constantly see people kind of going, oh no, wait, I missed that event, I'd like to come to the next one, sort of thing, which is really nice. It means that clearly it has drummed up a buzz, and people are genuinely eager and engaged to be a part of what we're doing, and that feels like good. That's a tick in the box. It feels like we're going in the right direction.
And one of the events that you brought together that I really, really enjoyed, which was about kind of taking our values and things that we care about as an organisation out to the corporate community, which was around environmental sustainability, wasn't that? That was really successful and quite unique.
Totally. And I think it's about how we can combine those two offerings, ultimately what we're doing creatively, but there's always generally a commercial or a corporate sort of spin on that. And certainly, you know, with the element of kind of environment, then sustainability and climate change, that is so important to businesses. And actually it lent itself so nicely to be able to say, look, this is the work we're doing creatively and on the stage, but actually there's also a huge part that you as a business community play in that. And I think it's important that we align and bring those two worlds together.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Lauren, tell me, I know also that you are a huge theatre enthusiast.
Yes.
I know that you love doing your job and the things that you do and talking about the work that we do, but you love the work on the stage.
Yes, I
you?
do. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that and your passion for theatre.
I think ultimately, theatre's sort of been in my blood since I was probably like 7 sort of thing, when I was at school. So I was kind of always a performer. I think everyone at the office would tell you that's definitely, it's still in my ethos somewhere, sort of thing.
Good.
But so I think theatre has always been a huge part of kind of like my life. I went on and thought I was going to be an actor, back in the day, sort of thing. Studied performance when I was at university. I've always had my hand somewhere in kind of theatre.
Yeah.
I think, as I say, for me, I never even dreamt that this sort of job kind of, aligning those two passions sort of kind of come together. Because for me, it's so nice when people ask about shows and things, and I get the opportunity to go, well, I've seen this, and I tell you all about that. And so, but it means that actually I think that's really important, because I think especially when we are working with people that don't necessarily know, what a show would align with their audience, is kind of like my roster, I think, is, well, certainly on musicals anyway, it is quite good sort of thing. So
and what are you looking forward to most that's coming up in the programme then?
Panto for me is always just one of my favourites sort of thing. Again, I think, I talked to so many people about how they all have a story about going to Panto when they were younger, and that resonates with me so fully as well. So I think it's that combination of sort of the spectrum really is so vast, and that's kind of what I love sort of thing. But then equally, me and my mum can't wait to come to the Dolly Parton musical either. So
Amazing. Oh, Lauren, it's lovely to chat to you, and thank you for all the work that you do. Is absolutely vital to what we do, and I just love your passion, and thank you for that too.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing from my 2 guests today, and thank you for joining us. If you're as excited as I am to see Owen as our Dame this year, you can get your tickets for Aladdin now at norwichtheatre.org. This was the last episode in this current season of Norwich Theatre Talks, and you may be pleased to know that we've been commissioned for another season. We'll be back with a new location and a new format very soon. Look forward to seeing you again then.